Hi, guys, and welcome back to Twisted Locker, your definitive horror podcast. Today, we're going to be doing some of our favourite found footage movies, a genre that I love very much. Jenks, if you want to kick this one off.
Yeah, this is an easy one. There are loads of great ones, okay? Uh, Probably more great ones than crap ones, which is very rare in most genres.
Yeah,
And the great thing about found footage, even though it's not exclusively horror, it's kind of found its foot only in horror. There's a couple of
yeah,
things that you could class as non-horror, but my first pick is 2008's masterpiece, in my opinion, Cloverfield, directed by Matt Reeves. Uh, it's a monster movie, so it's going in a horror podcast. Uh, it is absolutely amazing. It's pretty much straightforward. It's kind of a Godzilla style attack on New York, but it's shown through the footage of T.J. Miller. He's filming a party, and he follows the noise and the devastation of New York with his camera. And there's this massive monster destroying New York. Takes the head off the Statue of Liberty. It is incredible, and the great thing about this film is that even though the film is based on Godzilla, it's another take on Godzilla, it kind of reignited people's love for Godzilla. And then there was a real Godzilla film, and there's been several since. And I don't think those films would be around without Cloverfield, without a doubt. It's a strange thing. So, what I love about this film is that when you see the monster, yes, the CGI can be a little bit raw because it's quite low budget for such a big film. Um, but when you just see the tail through the camera lens, it feels so real, and you kind of react the same way you would if you genuinely saw a real tail of that magnitude.
yeah.
And I love it. You don't see TJ Miller. TJ Miller's quite famous. He's the guy from Deadpool. He's in
Cancelled
loads of
now?
films.
Cancelled.
Proper, well, he deserved it apparently. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
go into it, but he
yeah,
his voice, he's got a very good voice, very distinct voice. He's in a lot of animations, but you don't see him till right up to the end. But he kind of is a bit a character on his own because you just hear his voice. There's not many big actors in it. You got Lizzie Kaplan, who played. She's in a lot of films. She's played the prequel to Misery. And yes, it's a great film. So there's a scene at the start when the monster first hits. They're in a party. They hear a big rumble, and they go out and it's devastation. There's a big clouds of smoke and people walking through smoke. And they actually use footage from 9/11 when you see the people walking
yeah.
through the dust and things. And it's incredible. I don't know how they got away with it because it was only 2008. It was still quite raw in a lot of people's minds. Um, but it's fantastic. And Matt Reeves, if people don't know who he went on to do the Planet of the Apes movies. He did the new Batman
Batman,
film. He did Let the Right One In, the remake. Sorry,
let me in.
Let Me In. Um, I love this film. A little bit of backstory about it. So when it came out, you probably know this, but when it came out, there was just a trailer with no title. The script wasn't finished. It was just a party scene, people having a party, filming it with a video camera, and you hear this big rumble like an earthquake, and I think it might hear a roar. I can't remember, but something's happening, and the trailer ends. And some bizarre reason, it stayed off the internet, and the internet was relatively big 2008. You could not find that trailer on the internet. You only could see it on Transformers, and people were paying to see Transformers just to see that trailer.
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
If you haven't seen Cloverfield, you need to fucking watch it. What's your opinion on Cloverfield? I talked a long time, man. Sorry.
Yeah, you did. Every video we do, right? We start keep it at 10 minutes. You just spoke for 20 minutes. I
Go
got I
on,
gotta
let's go.
cut my I gotta cut mine down now.
Who cares about
Um,
yours?
I love Cloverfield. It's a great film. My earliest memory of that is I was one of the first found footage movies I'd seen, and I hated it. I'm a fan of seeing the action and seeing everything that goes on,
Yeah,
and I hated seeing these attacks through someone else's lenses. Obviously, as I've grown up, I've grown to appreciate it.
yeah.
Cloverfield is a 5-star movie. A very rare good pick for you, Jenks, which is a nice surprise.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. What do you
Jenks'
got,
third
Tancred?
taste. Right.
Yes.
First up from me is 2020's Host, directed by Rob Savage. Now, the reason I'm including this one on my list, right? We've only got two picks, but I have to include this one because of how effective it is. This movie, right, comes in at just over an hour or just under an hour, and it's the perfect length for this type of movie. And what this film achieves is probably one of the greatest achievements I've seen in horror. It is genuinely terrifying. The build up, everything about this movie is absolutely flawless. Basic plot, it's set in lockdown as the rest of the world are in lockdown, which is perfect. You watch this film, you're in lockdown, and basically it's about these group of girls that get together to do a seance online. The whole film is on their laptop. Um, it's not the first movie to do it. I think it was called Friend Request, if I believe, Jenks. Um,
Yes, but it wasn't a so much of a yeah, it was a bit of a horror, but yeah, that's
yeah.
similar, but not just
Um,
Zoom.
yeah. So the whole film is set on this laptop. Like I said, it comes in at just over an hour. Perfect. This film, right, is so intense. I actually, right, had rows for showing this to people. I told people to watch it, right, and they were literally giving me rows because they were so scared. Um, I've seen it a few times, right, but I wanted to rewatch it again the other night, ready for this video. So
Yeah,
my girlfriend hadn't seen it, so I put it on for her, and I did tell her, I was like, look, it's really scary, and she's quite new to horrors,
yeah.
since she's been with me, and I've never seen her. I've shown her everything, right? Insidious, Conjuring, all the scary films you could think of.
Street trash.
Nothing, street trash, nothing has shook her as much as this film, right? She wouldn't even go downstairs on her own, right?
I'm so scared right now.
And this is how scary this film is. I don't want to say too much about this one, right? Because, like I said, it's a short film. I don't want to give anything away, any of the scares. So I'm not going to
Yeah,
talk in too much detail with this one.
yeah,
This is one I really don't want to give anything away from. It's on Shudder. I highly, highly recommend this one. If you have seen it, let me know what you think in the comments. I haven't met one person that doesn't think this film is a horror masterpiece, and it absolutely deserves to be on any top found footage list.
yeah. I agree. I watched it when it came out, and I kind of loved the fact it was an hour. I didn't feel shortchanged, um, because I just thought, does everything have to be 90 minutes? Like, we live in a
No.
world where streaming, like if you went to the cinema and you were charged £10, I'd understand this, it's a bit of a con. But when you're watching things on streaming, episodes don't have to be 30 minutes or an hour. They can be anything. They don't have to have adverts and things like that to like dictate the length. And an hour was perfect. I was so satisfied. I felt like it was just equivalent of like watching a really good like Black Mirror episode where it feels
Yeah.
cinematic, but you're done and dusted early. I stuck this film on for my daughter. Um, we're going through a lot of horror films, and she loved it. And I know when she's scared because she talks all the time. And she
Yeah.
looks at me, and I'm saying, "Stop looking at me, watch the film." But she does it because
Yeah.
she's scared. And I'm like, I guess I get annoyed because I want her to see things, but I
Yeah,
know she's
yeah.
doing it because she's scared. Yeah, good choice. Yeah, brilliant
Yeah.
choice. Right, my last pick. Right, there's loads of found footage that I love. Okay, and I don't love this as much as I did when it first came out, but it had to be on the list because it had such an impact on my life, on found footage films, and it's Blair
On your
Witch
skin?
on my
Impact
skin.
on your skin?
Don't judge, don't judge
Is
me,
that the
okay?
worst tattoo you've ever seen in your life?
Uh, Listen to me now, right? Blair Witch came out in 1999. I was going to get on to the year it came out, 1999, which means that this is 25 years old. Okay,
You,
I was
you
an
know they've
idiot.
got laser tattoo removal places now, don't you?
Look, it's not that bad. I'm not going to get scar my arm. Right. Look, at least you can't see it if you pull your t-shirt down. Anyway, it's not on my fucking neck. Right. Can I say my thing? You do what I do now, interrupting me. Right. Blair Witch is the birth of the modern found footage. I think I haven't seen Cannibal Holocaust. Everyone says that's the first one. But it doesn't matter. That didn't have an impact on anything, okay? Most people haven't seen it. Most people haven't heard of it, okay?
You don't know what you're talking about, do you, sir?
No, you're looking at me like I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna
My
try
wife,
not to go off on one then. There's
no,
loads of films you haven't seen, right? There's
no, my point,
loads. Cannibal
my point,
Holocaust is a cult classic.
is cinema, and my point is, my wife wouldn't have heard of Cannibal Holocaust. My parents wouldn't have, but everybody has fucking heard of the Blair Witch Project. That's my point, okay? Now, it came out in '99, directed by Daniel Myrick and Edward Sanchez, and it's 75 minutes of just tension. You don't see a lot of it. It's about a group of filmmakers that go into the woods. You've seen their footage. They get attacked by some kind of entity. You don't know if it's a witch or not. I won't spoil the ending, even though it's 25 years old. I don't see the point of spoiling endings if you don't need to. It's a very slow burner, even though it's 75 minutes long. It's still quite slow. I put it on for my daughter recently, and I found it a little bit slow. I was aware. I thought, oh, she's going to get bored. As it happens, she quite liked the fact that not a lot was happening. She's so used to things like Conjuring, where things are thrown at you, but she loved it. And the ending is so powerful. It's so simple, and it gets under your skin. And I remember you got to remember as well that 1999, I said it in I think I might have said in a previous video, was the start of the horror rebirth. In the 90s, it was shit. You had Scream, which you could argue is a thriller. You know, yes, it falls into horror, but there was no monsters and ghosts. I think Freddy at the start of the 90s, like 1990, was Freddy 6, and I think people were done with horror, the oversaturation. And I remember my cousin and I, Mark, was we were saying like, well, they don't make horrors anymore. I remember the Frighteners came out with Peter Jackson, and I was like, oh, finally a horror, and it was good. There's great, you know, it's not
Yeah.
really a horror, it's not scary, but 1999, you had Blair Witch, you had The Sixth Sense, and then 2000, you had others, and it just kept on going, and it hasn't stopped ever since. There's always a horror film out now, and we almost went a whole decade without anything. And Blair Witch and Sixth Sense, to some extent, birthed it, and it is deserves to be reckoned as one of the greatest tattoo-worthy horror films of all time. Mic drop, bump.
Yeah, I've never had a massive connection with Blair Witch. I'm gonna sound like a snob here, but I did attend a live Q&A with the director and cast, and
Pompous celibate.
Carl, this is really too much.
Just calm down.
You're totally full of shit.
I had a newfound appreciation of when you see someone talking about something that they created and how they done it and the process
Yeah.
and stuff. You do look at it a different way, and I definitely need to give it a rewatch. But growing up, it wasn't really for me. I always wanted more from it, and I actually prefer. I don't even want to say this because I'm going to get lynched. Adam Wingard's sequel. That for me
What
is what
Blair?
I need from a film.
Not Book of Shadows, because I'll come
No.
over there and fucking rub this in your face.
Rub it
You know,
away.
honestly, right?
No,
Yes, the
no,
third
Adam
one is
Wingard
good.
one.
A third one is good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Carry on.
There we
Sorry.
are then, guys. It's all right. Right, my top spot. And this, right, it's a newer one, and this is the underrated future cult movie Deadstream, which came out in 2022 on Shudder. You can stop shaking your head, right? This film is an absolute masterpiece. I'm telling you.
It's up there with Critters 4. I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah. Carry
Right,
on. Carry on. Sorry.
let me explain, right, why this film is amazing, right? And then you can put your 2 cents in afterwards, right?
Fine. Fine. Fine.
Okay, so Deadstream, which came out in 2022, we've got an online influencer who, after being cancelled, tries to claw his way back to that limelight by locking himself in the most haunted house in America for the night and live streaming it. Already, how good does that sound? Best film ever. We've got the main lead, played by Joseph Winter, who also directed it. Man of many talents.
Yeah. Fair play.
The first time I watched this, right, it was already like, this is probably the best found footage movie I've ever seen, and I've watched it about 6 times since. Now, I've seen thousands of movies, and I like most of them, and I'll watch a film and I'll go, oh yeah, I really like that, but I may not watch it again for like 4 years. But
Yeah.
very rarely a film comes along and I crave it all the time. And now Deadstream, I'd say, is up there with some of my favourites for going back to. It's one I crave a lot and I always want to go back to because it's got everything I love, just like Evil Dead 2. And I will draw comparisons because it does, again, draw a fine line between terror and comedy. Again, the comedy not taken away from how scary the film is, but you do have fun with it. Um, it does mix everything together so well, and the house itself is terrifying. The whole setup of the movie, and like I said, the main lead played by Joseph Winter, he is fantastic in there. You hate him, but you love him at the same time. He's just this bumbling idiot running around this house, being attacked by all sorts of monsters and ghouls. And I just love it. The setup's great. It's a little bit slow at the start, but it's a good slow, like you said with Blair Witch. It's once he's in that house and he's in that location, it's amazing. What I will say as well is they did social commentary back in the 80s. Now this is social commentary for modern day. You've got online influencers and YouTubers doing anything they can for fame and money and likes, and it plays it really well. Like this guy knows full well this house is haunted, or he's a non-believer, I think. But he does it, he throws away the key, and even when things start kicking off, he realizes, oh my god, my viewing counts have gone up because things are
Yeah.
going crazy. And he just continues this charade of running around this house with these ghosts. Like, I absolutely love this film. I watched it and I gave it an instant 5 stars. Like I said, I've gone back to this film about 6 times already.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I'm so excited to see what Joseph Winter does next. Hopefully, it's something in the vein of this movie. I will say as well, if you've seen this movie and loved it, I highly recommend Spree, which is a similar type of story about an online influencer who starts doing things for fame. More of a thriller than a horror, but that's another fantastic one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I will draw a comparison to Evil Dead because they are similar in many ways, and probably one of the main reasons I love this film so much. We've the comparisons, right? We've got two bumbling idiots running around a scary house, getting body parts severed, covered in buzzing shit, and dancing with the dead. That's about as much of a comparison as you can get
Yeah.
from the two of them. They're very different films, but I can definitely feel some influences, obviously,
Yeah.
with this one to Evil Dead. But this is absolutely my favourite found footage movie of all time. I'm a bit gutted I didn't mention Paranormal Activity and a few others. There's loads I love, but these two make my top spot easily.
This film, I did watch it when it came out, and the first half was brilliant. The actor is fantastic in it, and it genuinely is scary. Even though he's very comedic in it, he is terrified, and he's being comedic because he's terrified, like almost to mask his fear, and all that element is spot on because I felt uneasy. But without giving things away, as the film progresses and it gets a bit too demony and the standard ghost thing goes away, it gets a little bit too slapstick for me. And tonally, it was out a little bit out. But maybe I'll give it a rewatch because you do love it. And, I didn't hate it. I just was disappointed with the ending. And I tend to get more pissed off when it has potential and it kind of pisses me
Yeah,
off.
I
So
get
maybe
that.
I'll go
I
back
get
to
that.
it. Maybe I'll go back to it. Yeah.
But yeah, I will say, as I've always been a fan of found footage movies, and there isn't many weak ones, but a lot of them haven't got rewatch value because a lot of them are slow burns and you've got to get through a lot of like shaky camera, friends talking
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Whereas there's a select few like this one that is absolutely entertaining from the start. You get on with the character, everything about it you can follow, and it doesn't have
Yeah.
any bits in the film that you have to get through to get to the scary bits.
Yeah.
So absolutely has to be my number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
If anyone has seen Deadstream, Blair Witch, Jenks' Blair Witch tattoo, give him shit for it in the comments. If anyone disagrees, anyone agrees, any recommendations for us that you think we should watch, guys, chuck them in the comments. But that is all we got time for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.